Are those stairs? Timothy blurted as they came close enough to notice what looked to be two trees on either side of the stairs. The trunk acted as handrails with the occasional branches with leaves on them, wrapping around each respective wooden rail. Staring at the ornate and out-of-place stairs, Helen wondered about its origins. Thinking about Katya's words, a mixture of dread and curiosity flowed through her body. It was striking how the trees appeared functional and natural at the same time. What made her eyes widen was the rustling of the leaves. It was as though a slight wind was blowing up them. As they approached the stairs, Bella broke the silence. I had assumed if there were to be stairs, they'd be going up instead of down. Helen couldn't help but nod her head in agreement, turning to see Bella clenching her teeth, a small vein pulsating near her temple. The reaction was understandable considering their assumption about this place. Now the stairs potentially hinted to another danger they'd have to face. Reaching them, they stopped at the edge and looked down. Due to how it sloped, they were only able to see the light flooding the lower portions. What do we do? Liam shakily looked at each of them, hoping for a safer option aside from the unknown. Scowling at Liam's question, what else can we do? We need to go down and see what's in store for us. Sin scoffed at the cowardice. Yes, though we could head back the way we came. I get the feeling we could be in an equally poor position. Bella stepped forward onto the steps. The special operation members followed after their leader, little hesitation in their movements. Being in a scenario with little information and support was likely their default position. Training taking over their thinking, preventing fear from dictating their thoughts. Choosing to strengthen her thoughts, holding the fear back, Helen followed after. Each step signifying the strength inside growing. Taking a deep breath, reminding herself of the lack of alternatives. Footsteps of her friends were heard, following after her. Looking back, she watched Abigail and Sheila holding one another's hands. Abigail looking a little calmer than the others, though her eyes spoke volumes. We'll get through this. Helen tried to encourage her friends, hoping her voice didn't shake from her own nerves. Katharina turned back smiling. That's right. We're in this together. Whatever is down there, we'll take it on together. That's right. Timothy and Robert nodded. Timothy raising a fist in confidence. Robert's smile was slanted, as though he wasn't entirely convinced they weren't all going to die. It was an improvement compared to Liam, who looked utterly convinced that things would go south quickly. Reaching the halfway point, Helen could see a dirt path and grass. There was even the smell of nature being blown their direction, tickling their nostrils. Smelling nature and feeling the wind, they increased their pace. It wasn't long before they witnessed an open field, scattered trees enjoying the sunlight. Animals were seen eating the bountiful grass. Everything looked picture perfect and utterly different from the world they came from. Helen looked up at the sky, shocked to see a rocky ceiling. The light was being emitted by what looked like stones, though potentially a more natural method. We're underground? Katya shaded her eyes, staring up at the ceiling, sounding equally amazed as everyone else was feeling. What is this place? Liam continued to gaze at the animals, going about their business. What world are we in right now? His voice slowly raised in pitch. Michelle dazedly stood next to Liam, as though not knowing what to say. Cursing, what do we do now? This strange place, which feels like it goes on forever. Katya glared at the peaceful field. We'll need to explore the area. See if any paths are leading out of this place. Bella sighed, shaking her head. Even though beauty surrounded them, Helen couldn't feel relaxed. The contrast from the previous place, the monsters they had encountered, it created a chill inside after being exposed to such a sight. Off in the distance, a forest could be seen in addition to a path leading into it. Helen's eyes picked up signs of ruins as she scanned the area. Eyes darting to the side. Is that a castle over there? When she eyed the others, it was apparent they noticed the crumbling wall. If there's a place we can start, I feel as though it's the best at the moment. Bella started on the path, eyes locked on the signs of civilization. It's possible we'll be able to discover some clues as to where we are. Squad leader, I believe it's prudent for me to take several members to scout out the immediate vicinity. Katharina stepped forward. Wariness was written across her face. Seeing Bella nod her head, Helen raised her arm. I would like to join in on the scouting party. Deep down, there was a need to figure out why concern built inside of her. Katharina raised a hand. Helen, just stay here with others. Shaking her head, Sheila was stubborn. I don't feel like this place is right. Just staying here and waiting for something to happen. Did you feel anything? Helen turned to face Sheila. Nervously looking at Bella, Sheila nodded her head. It feels like something is watching us, as though they're waiting for an opportune moment to strike. Running her fingers through her hair. I don't know how else to describe it. Sin looked to Helen, then Bella. Squad leader, I think it may be a good idea. Waving a hand to her teammates. There aren't many of us to be able to handle every threat. Knowing this place is altering us to become proficient in various skills, I think it's a good idea for us to capitalize on this. Sin! Katharina glared at the woman. Bella ignored Katharina's outburst. Placing a hand on her chin and closing her eyes, she was silent. It's a good idea. Katya grinned at Helen. I'm of a similar mindset as Sheila, though mine doesn't stem from a magical ability. She side-eyed Sheila. Something doesn't feel right, as though this place is trying to get us to lower our guard with this sham. Helen, head off with Katharina and the others. Bella opened her eyes. Gently shaking her head upon seeing Katharina preparing to argue. You'll stay close to her. It can't be avoided. Sin and Katya are thinking correctly about this place. Shoulders slumping, Katharina made a motion to Helen. Feeling a little guilty about putting Katharina into such a position, she apologetically smiled at the woman. Katharina tried to be a good sport, shrugging a shoulder and wryly smiling. Looking back at the members of the Special Operation Team, she pointed, Synth, May, Sue, you three, with me. Helen watched as a tall brunette woman, who was likely Synth, followed by a tiny blonde and a Far Eastern woman of average height. They casually looked Helen up and down, gauging her strength. No comments were made, each one ready for what lay ahead. Remember to keep an eye out on one another. We are still visitors of this place, unaware of the rules. Bella's eyes were lowered, reminding them of the unknown dangers presented in this environment. Don't worry, squad leader. I'll make sure to keep an eye out on Katharina, along with the girl. Sue brushed back her long, straight black hair, grinning. Her grin became larger when she noticed Katharina narrowing her eyes. As though not wanting to deal with the teasing, Katharina began jogging on the path. The other three quickly reacted and followed after, forcing Helen to run after them. She quickly looked back at everyone remaining, hoping nothing happened while she was gone. Her eyes rested on Abigail for several seconds before she returned her sights to Katharina and the others.